People think they know what the arena is. They see blood. They cheer for steel. They shout for death. But they don't hear the silence right before the gate opens. They don't smell the rust, the sweat, the fear. They don't know what it's like to be chosen. I do. I lived it. I remember the day they called my name for the first time. Not as a boy, not as a slave, but as meat for the sand. They didn't tell me when. They just came, shackles clanging, eyes empty, and pointed to the gate. I didn't ask questions. I knew what it meant. My feet moved on their own, but inside I was frozen. The closer I got, the louder the sound grew. Not of weapons or screams, but the roar of the crowd. A monstrous wave crashing above the walls. It wasn't joy or hate, just hunger. The gatekeeper didn't look at me. He slid the bolt with a groan and stepped aside. The light was blinding. For a moment I saw nothing but gold. The sun on the sand, the shimmer on the stone. And then I stepped out. The sound hit me like a storm, thousands of voices merging into one primal scream. I was barefoot. The sand burned. My hand gripped the wooden handle of a chipped gladius, too heavy for my still soft arms. No armor, just a leather strap across my chest and a scrap of cloth around my waist. I must have looked like a lamb among lions. And yet, the crowd loved it. The smaller I looked, the louder they screamed. Across from me, he stood like a statue. Taller, older, a real gladiator. His skin was a map of old wounds, his eyes the color of iron. He didn't smile, he didn't nod, he just waited, like a man who'd killed 100 boys before me. I wanted to run, my legs trembled, but the gate behind me had already shut with a sound that felt final. I remembered my mother for the first time in years, her voice, her hands, the way she braided my hair when I was still free. The memories came without mercy, sharp and unwanted. I tried to shake them, but the man was moving now, slow, deliberate. And I raised my sword, not to fight, but to survive. He lunged without warning, not fast, just certain, like someone who didn't need to rush because he'd already won. I stumbled back, almost tripping over my own feet, barely raising the gladius in time. His blade struck mine, and the force shook through my wrist like lightning. I thought I would drop it. I almost did. The sound of metal meeting metal wasn't sharp. It was heavy, like a hammer falling on stone. He didn't speak. Some did, I was told. Some mocked, some taunted. But not him. He moved like a butcher, eyes cold, measured. I had no plan, only fear. Every part of my body screamed for escape, but I circled instead, awkward, breathing hard already. The sand dragged at my heels. My mouth was dry as bone. I tried to remember what the trainer said. Keep your stance low, protect your ribs, never swing wild. But the noise, the eyes, the heat, they erased everything. Then he struck again, and this time he caught my arm. Not deep, but enough. A flash of pain tore across my forearm, and hot blood ran down to my fingers. The crowd roared, not for me. Never for me. They roared for pain, for the first drop, for the scent of violence in the air. I looked at the wound like it didn't belong to me. It didn't feel real. Nothing did. I backed away, clumsy, heart racing like it wanted out of my chest. He waited again. He was testing me, studying, like a hunter sizing up a cornered animal. And I gave him nothing to admire. My arms shook, my grip weakened. I wanted to scream, not from pain, but from the helplessness swelling in my gut. The truth was burning behind my eyes. I wasn't trained for this. I wasn't born for this. But neither were they. Not all of them. Some survived by accident, some by instinct. Maybe I could too. I narrowed my eyes and shifted my weight. He saw it, the first spark of defiance, and tilted his head, curious. I thought of the gate, of the faces behind it, of the ones who'd watched me vanish without a word. I would not die like a whisper. I stepped forward. The moment I moved toward him, something changed. Not in him. In me. My body was still trembling, my grip still weak, but inside a crack opened. A space where fear used to live now filled with something else. Not courage, not skill, but desperation shaped like rage. I swung, sloppy, too wide. He dodged it easily, but it made him blink. I had made him move, and for a breath, I wasn't prey anymore. I was something inconvenient. He countered, fast and cruel. His blade scraped across my ribs, shallow but punishing. I gasped. The pain was hot and sudden, but it anchored me. It made everything sharper. The glare of the sun, the coarseness of the sand, the rhythm of the crowd. I kept my eyes on him, chest rising and falling like I was drowning in heat. And maybe I was. But I didn't drop my sword. He tried to end it quickly. That's how I knew he didn't hate me. Hate would have made him play. But mercy, I learned, was worse. He thought I wasn't worth killing slow. That cut deeper than his blade. So I let go of fear, just for a second. I ducked under his next swing and drove my shoulder into his side. He staggered. Barely. But enough for me to feel the crowd gasp. Just a flicker of surprise. A break in the rhythm. My breath burned. My wounds throbbed. But I could taste something new. Not victory, not yet. But the chance to stay alive another minute. He growled low, more annoyed than angry. I had become a nuisance. And nuisances die too, just not quickly. He came at me with real weight now. I barely blocked, sparks flying between our blades. The jolt ran up my bones, but I stood. There was blood on the sand now. Mine, mostly. I didn't care. I had stopped thinking of the gate, of freedom, of anything outside the circle of dust where we danced like animals. No gods were watching us, only men. And they wanted a show. I had nothing else to give. So I gave them my pain, my breath, my defiance. Let them see me die fighting. He came at me with fury now, not for revenge, but to silence the noise I had created. Every step he took kicked up dust and blood. I barely saw the strikes anymore. I felt them in the air, in my bones, as if the arena itself were trembling. I dodged left, too slow. His blade grazed my shoulder. The pain blurred my vision. My legs buckled, but I didn't fall. Not yet. I saw his face as he raised his sword. Not hate, not rage. Pity. That was worse than death. He was about to end me clean, like you'd kill a sick dog. And for some reason, that lit a fire in me deeper than fear ever could. I screamed, not with my voice, but with everything I had left. I lunged forward, not for glory, for interruption. My gladius met his side, a shallow cut. Nothing fatal. But he stepped back. It was enough. The crowd erupted. Not for me, not fully, but I was no longer invisible. They saw the dirt, the sweat, the boy who wouldn't stay down. I staggered forward, blade shaking, lips cracked, chest bleeding, and for one wild moment I thought, maybe I can win. But no. He was too strong, too seasoned. He could kill me in one clean motion, but he didn't. He circled me, slow, eyes dark. Then he did something I'll never forget. He lowered his sword, just slightly. A test, a question. Would I attack? Would I show him I was more than meat? I raised my blade, not because I could win, but because I still had breath. He nodded once, then stepped back. The trumpet blew. The fight was over. I fell to my knees, not from pain, but from disbelief. I hadn't won, but I hadn't died. The sand drank my blood like it had done 1,000 times before. I would return to the cells, to the stink and the chains. But something had changed. I had spilled blood. I had been seen. I had survived. And in the world of the arena, that was the first scar you earned. Not on your body, but on your soul.